evening and welcome to Skits and Quibbles. It's me, Precocious Lotus, or Dr. Audrey Tang if you watch Mental Health Matters, 8 a.m. PT on a Thursday. Now, Skits and Quibbles is the show where the arts meet well-being, but also we bring you industry superstars and we learn from their experience. And as it's Christmas, so I hope you've had a fabulous Christmas, we have got a real treat for you. We've got musician Amii Dawes, who is going to play us her fabulous music, as well as give an interview about her experiences in the music industry. But before we meet her, let's head over to the main stage. So today I thought we would talk about Christmas presents. And now I know it's already Boxing Day, but if you are wanting to give people that little bit of a surprise, I thought I'd give you 3 lovely burlesque poses that you could pop out of a Christmas present with. The first is the surprise pose. So again, everything is pulled up, everything is nice and core tight, that's it, that's what we want. And then we just bring our arms up and go, surprise! It's a nice, happy, jolly pose. And what's happening is you're taking up lots of space and going, surprise! Now, another lovely pose you can do if you want is the one-handed pose. And that's, you can do it on the other leg if you wish. And again, it's up there. Another lovely, positive pose. Bend the front leg, gives you a nice shape. And again, use the core. It's all about strengthening our body. That's what burlesque is actually all about. And the last one, this is one of my favorites. It's one of my class's favorites as well, because they really like to choose this one when I give them free choice. And this is what I like to call the penguin pose. You may well have been watching Mary Poppins, where the penguins all do the dance with Bert, or you may be thinking how crazy I am. But the penguin pose is simply putting your hands out to the sides, a little bit like a penguin, and posing like this. But again, remember, head high, core in, and bring the sass. So whatever you're doing, have a sassy time this Christmas. Are you warmed up? If you are, let's meet our fabulous guest. It's musician Amii Dawes, and we're going to hand it straight over to her and her fabulous music.
I'd sell my watch just to buy some time, to go back to the pantomime that we lived in back when we were kids. But the monsters that hid beneath my bed are between my dirty sheets instead. No, we never thought it would end up like this. And now we run away from love instead of kiss chase with the boys, pulling splinters from underneath our feet from our broken wooden toys. I tip my hat just to watch it fall to the curtain closing on us all, to a show they promised would be gold. But the curtain closes way too fast to leave us stumbling in the dark, picking up the props that we used to help us grow. And now we turn the music down instead of dancing to the noise, pulling splinters from underneath our feet from our broken wooden toys. If I had another year or so, I'd promise not to let them go. I'd take them to my final show, but I know that's just not the way staircase with the boys. Pulling splinters from our broken hearts, we're all broken wooden toys.
Welcome to Skits and Quibbles, Amy.
Thanks for having me.
That was such a moving song. I was listening to the lyrics and I think it's so powerful, and it really was poignant thinking about how we do this sometimes. We just we get older and we forget who we are, and I just think you captured that so beautifully.
Thank you. Yeah, I think when I was a kid, I think I wanted to be a grown-up way sooner than I was meant to be, because it looked like a lot of fun.
And technically, if we remember, it is a lot of fun, it is, but I think we also get caught up with the stresses and strains.
No one tells you the other stuff, you know, the paying bills, having to do a food shop, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I wrote that song basically to be like, if only I'd have remembered at the time that it's actually really fun being a kid, and just learned to sort of appreciate that a little bit more. If I could go back and do that, then I absolutely would.
Yeah, I think we all would, and I think that's a great lesson. Maybe that's our resolution for 2025. We need to think about how to get more play and joy back into our lives.
Yeah, and to realise sort of special moments as they're happening, not 10 years later in hindsight.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Now, your songs, we've released an EP. They're also poignant and meaningful. Tell me about the EP.
So the EP, it's called Days That End in Y, the word Y. Just because, you know, I think everyone has those days, sometimes a string of them in quick succession, where it feels like sort of never ending, and before you know it, a month, 2 months, 3 months has gone by, and you're just thinking, like, why me? You can't catch a break. And so that was the sort of the first idea for the EP, and then sort of just woven in other life experiences and things like that as I do. I wanted to try a little different for the latest EP though, because it's a little bit more upbeat, it's a little bit more sort of indie pop, a genre that I listen to a lot of but never really stepped into. I'd sort of I felt like I'd boxed myself in a little bit in the acoustic stuff, and so I wanted to branch out and try a few different things.
That's really interesting, because actually that brings me to my next question, which is, who are you inspired by as a singer? I mean, for me, listening to you, I can hear inspirations from Amy McDonald's, and one I really like listening to, but you are unique in the way that you perform, the way that you sing, and as I said before, the poignancy of your music. So who are you inspired by?
My all-time the first person that I remember being inspired by was actually Avril Lavigne.
Right.
Just because a lot of the female singers up until that point had been very pretty pop stars. Your Britneys. Yes. Which is, you know, great and everything.
It's a brand, and that is what it is.
But I sort of knew that I was never going to be that, so it seemed an unachievable goal. And then Avril Lavigne comes along, and she's wearing a tie without a shirt, and she's skating around and just being really cool, and a bit of a, I hate the term tomboy, but I suppose that's how she would have been described at the time. So she was the first person that I remember looking at thinking like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. I grew up with brothers. I'm not particularly girly, whatever that means. So yeah, she was the first person, but musically, I love Joni Mitchell, Alanis Morissette, Katie Tunstall was a big one as well, actually.
Oh, really?
Love Katie Tunstall, yeah, really love her.
Yeah.
I think she's a very underrated songwriter.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
But I think you could probably put on maybe 5-10 of her songs and people would sing along, not necessarily knowing that she wrote them, which I kind of love that about her, though. She's not... She could probably walk down the street and not many people will recognise her, and that's kind of what I like about her.
The art speaks for itself, and
exactly.
I think that's...
She doesn't need the big show of it because she writes excellent lyrics, and she's really talented. Yeah. So yeah, I'm inspired by that a lot as well.
I love that, and I think that's actually very healthy, to be honest, really, because I think there's so much pressure, especially in a social media world, to fit yourself into a certain look, and that can be quite damaging to young people.
Yeah, big time.
In particular.
Yeah, I think especially for a lot of people of my generation as well, that the sort of first part of my life, social media didn't exist. And then at our most crucial ages, you know, early to mid-teenage years was when Facebook and everything like that started coming about. You know, the most formative years of a teenager's life.
Yes.
So depending on how you fall on that line of how involved in social media you are, it can be, you know, it could go one of two ways.
Yes, very much so. A lot of people, even now, they use singing as a healthy expression of how they feel, and I think it's a wonderful way to actually release sometimes things that we can't find the words for. What brought you to singing?
That really, yeah. I think when I was a kid, I used to write a lot of poems and short stories and things like that. When I was around sort of 9 or 10, kept them in a little book. I'd always loved music I feel like in a different kind of way. Like a lot of people just listen to a song, go, that's a nice song. Yeah. I would get obsessed with songs and albums and want to know everything about how it was made. I want to know where it was produced, who recorded it and where. And I always just had a bit of a deeper interest in it. So I did GCSE music at school and turned a lot of my old poems into lyrics.
Wow.
And then during the summer holidays, I think between 16 and 17, my first year of sixth form, I took the 6-week summer holiday at school and bought a guitar from a car boot set and taught myself how to play it. And then, just sort of turned the lyrics into songs. And then about a year later, just started gigging and never really stopped.
That's amazing. That's really inspirational. I mean, do you mind sharing how your journey has been as a musician? Because it's not necessarily easy, but it can be so fulfilling.
Yeah, I think it's quite frustrating at first because when you get that first idea of somebody promising that something's going to happen or this is going to be the big break, and when you're naive and you've just started out in the industry, you go, oh, okay, cool. And you just take it on face value. When that's happened 50, 60 times, you learn to realise that that's not the case. And if you want to have a big break, you have to make your own big break. There's not going to be anybody that's going to wave a magic wand and sort it out for you. So that took a couple of years to get used to, I think, because, when I first started, 16, 17 years old, you sort of think, oh, well, I've watched enough films about famous musicians to know that I could just play in a pub down the road and someone will discover me and that's it. And obviously that's not happened. But I think I've come to terms with that, and actually I quite like how much experience I've had now.
Yes.
Having those ups and downs, promises being broken and sort of getting your hopes up and then getting them shattered and all that stuff. I quite appreciate the fact that that's happened.
Yes, I know what you're saying, because it becomes a foundation of resilience in many ways. And as you progress in your career, because you're still young, I mean, you've still got a long career ahead of you, but as you keep growing, you've got that to hang on to.
Yeah, and it's resilience, and it's also it's very grounding. Like I can't let myself get carried away with if somebody says, oh, do this and this will lead on to this and that. I'm thinking you've got to be a little bit cynical about it.
Yeah. I mean, do you mind me asking a little bit about that? Because I think this is something, especially for our young musicians who will be watching this, or young creatives even, these promises are going to be made. And what do we need to look out for just to kind of go, well, is this really even a legitimate offer? Because it can be even worse than nothing happens. It can be scamming and conning as well.
Well, unfortunately, I would say 90% of them aren't going to be what they say they're going to be, because the music industry is so oversaturated.
Right. Yeah.
That if there is an opportunity to be had that's going to lead on to big things, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to come to you with the opportunity. Yeah. They're going to make you apply for something or audition for something, because you know, no matter how talented you are, there's also millions of other people all across the world that are not getting offered these same things.
Yes.
And so I think anything that is genuine and legitimate that's available, you have to do the searching for it.
Yes.
Because there are still good things out there, of course there are. But because of how oversaturated the market is, I'd just always go into it with a little bit of cynicism that, okay, what do I have to do in return?
Yeah, I like that. I think that's really, really important. Now, you're going to play us I Can't Stay the Night. Do you mind telling us about this next song?
Yeah, so I wrote I Can't Stay the Night probably about 10 years ago. I wrote the song. I always wanted to go travelling, see the world. I'm from a relatively small town, and I just knew that there was something bigger and more out there that I wanted to see. But I've also had anxiety since I was 14 years old, so getting out and seeing the world felt like an impossible task. And I'm sort of the mentality that if I write a song about it, it has to be true. And so I wrote a song about going travelling, leaving my home for a little while, although not really wanting to because I'm nervous about it. And that's how I came to write the song. And then because I wrote the song, I had to do it, and I went travelling for a while.
Amazing. Oh, well, this is Amy playing I Can't Stay the Night.
There's clothes on the floor and there's dirt in the hall. There's blood on the windows and doors. This place will stay in my memory. I pray I'll remember it forevermore. There's glass on the stairs as the radio blares. Rock and roll music so loud. I don't want to leave the place I call home, but I know that I have to somehow. I know that I can't stay the night. I know that I can't stay the night. There's love in this case, keepings with no place, some photos of my childhood days. My heart's in this song, maybe there I went wrong, because it sent me on my way. I know that I can't stay the night. I know that I can't stay the night. There's a ghost in this town that's leading me out, ensuring that I take my leave. So guitar in my hand, I now understand that the ghost all along has been me. I wish that I could stay the night. I wish that I could stay the night. I know
Amy, that was absolutely beautiful. Again, your music is just, it really gets to you, really gets to you. Now, what are the mental health benefits that you get from singing? You were brought to it as a form of expression. What does it do for you? I tend to sing with my eyes closed, which I know a lot of people have a little bit of an issue with. I don't know why, but I do it so that I can zone out. Yeah. Like when I'm singing, I want to pretend that no one else is in the room because it's my sort of form of meditation. Yes.
When I'm writing it, it's cathartic because I'm not the best with words, just talking, so I have to write them down as songs. So the writing part of it is really therapeutic for me, and then the singing of it is sort of an exorcism of sorts.
No, that's fabulous. That's it. And actually, I mean, you can just, if I listen to you, I'm going to listen with my eyes closed as well. Actually, I was doing that, so I don't think it really matters. I know what you're saying, but I think that's again, it comes back to this branding thing, rather more than actually the art of music that comes from. Okay, this is a cheeky question, I'm afraid. Will you be using singing to kind of protect yourself from some of the Christmas stress that happens at this time?
Yes. Yeah, well, I do a thing just around the house at work sometimes where I think if you sing something, it makes it less bad. So if you know, for example, saying like, today is awful, I want it to be over. Somehow just putting it in a little sing-song thing is like, oh, actually I've got a spring in my step. Maybe I will be able to get to the end of the day at work.
I love it. We should try that.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's a great idea. And if you have tried it, let us know in the comments. And sort of linked to that, how do you find time for you as Amy? Not as musician Amy, not as performer Amy, just for yourself.
Well, I'm quite fortunate in that it is genuinely my hobby as well. So even if I'm not out gigging or writing or recording, I'll be at home and I'll just have a little play around, see if I can, write a nice guitar riff or something. So I do genuinely do it to relax, but also just I love a good book. Nothing better than just sitting with a good book after a long stressful week.
Yeah.
Just laying on the sofa with a book. I find that the ultimate relaxation.
I like that. And okay, this is again probably another cheeky question, because you said that you write songs which you want to live, and have books ever inspired you to write something?
Yeah, quite a few times. Whether it's just sort of a turn of phrase or the poetic way that something's written. Things like that, but yeah, books, films, all sorts really. Yeah. There was the weirdest inspiration I ever got was, I remember I was off school one day because I was ill, and an episode of Loose Women was on the TV, and Janet Street Porter was on it, and she used the term concrete upper lip.
What? Yeah.
To describe someone incredibly like stoic and British.
Yes.
And I was like, concrete upper lip, that's really good. And then I wrote a song late that day called Concrete Upper Lip. So thank you, Janet Street Porter.
Yes. That's brilliant. If you're watching Janet Street Porter too,
She definitely is, she told me.
There we go.
She texted me earlier, she's going to tune in.
Now you're going to play for us The Valley. Can you tell me about this next song?
Yes, it's a song that I wrote about the life of a struggling musician, really. When I was about 18, me and a friend of mine, Tony, we did a little bit of busking and sort of dipped our toe in the pool of street performing. And it was, again, a very oversaturated market. You think, okay, I'm just going to go out there, play some songs on a guitar in the street. What a novel idea. And then you see 20 other musicians singing songs in the street with a guitar, and you think, oh, okay. And it's about the breaking through of like, okay, if there's 20 of us, how am I going to get people to listen to me?
Yes.
Like, what needs to change? And it's about this sort of frustrations that come with that.
Amazing. This is The Valley.
Tired mind and bloodshot eyes, 47 hours she's been up. The night was cold and black as the coffee in her cup. as the lines upon her face, upon her face. Till she can no more, till her feet feel numb on the cardboard floor. She picks up her guitar, the sound she calls home, and begins to sing her lonely song. To fulfill her lonely mission, where an echo is so familiar no one ever stops to listen. She will keep on playing till her fingers start to bleed, and when the valley's had enough, yeah, she finds another street, another street. Her feet feel numb on the cardboard floor. She picks up her guitar, the sound she calls home, and begins to sing her lonely song. But you will hear the echo of her lonely valley song.
Now that song, The Valley, you said it was about the frustrations of starting out. You can hear that. It's so powerful. Oh my goodness. I mean, a lot of people, they let a lot of emotion out in their performance. Do you find that crosses over when you're performing? Is it a bit of a release?
Yeah, I think it's. I use it as a tool against sort of my very anxious mind. So if something's on my mind, write it down, and then by writing it down, it sort of gets locked in the box a little bit.
Yeah.
So then every time I perform it, it sort of a little bit comes out of the box, and it's a way to sort of still not sweep all the problems under the carpet, but sort of let them out in dribs and drabs in a safe space.
I love that. I love that. We need to get you on the mental health show. Yeah. And for somebody with anxiety who is anxious, how have the highs and lows been in the industry?
It's challenging. It is challenging. I think in a weird sort of way, having anxiety almost helps that though.
Okay.
Because I think if you've got a brain that's wired to have a few more ups and downs than the average person anyway, the added ups and downs of disappointment, failure, success, all of that kind of thing, you get very used to your life being a bit more roller coaster than normal. So I'd say I'm actually quite pleased with it. I've learnt to enjoy having anxiety in a weird sort of way.
Yeah, I can hear that. That's really insightful, in fact, and that'll be helpful for a lot of people, actually. No, so thank you for sharing that. And is there anything you wish people had told you when you were starting out? Because you've given us some brilliant things to take away.
That, unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily matter how talented you are, because if you don't have patience and a good work ethic, then your talent kind of doesn't mean anything, because you're not just going to get snapped up because you can sing really well, or you can do an excellent guitar solo. It has to be a perfect mix of talented enough, patient, and not just oh, well, that one opportunity didn't work out, so I'm going to throw in the towel. So resilience, a lot of hard work, and just sort of tenacity to make your own opportunities as well.
Yes.
Because they aren't just going to land in your lap. You need to stand up and think, okay, I didn't get accepted to play on that festival, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the next week emailing different festival organisers, and I'll get on these festivals instead.
Yes.
Don't just wait for a festival organiser to come to you, and
Yeah.
because you'll be waiting
Yes.
50 years.
Yes, yeah, and sort of linked to that actually is the patience, resilience, and etiquette of when you're booked or on time.
Always,
that's
yeah.
so important.
I think that's because I've been on the other side of it as well, where I've organised events and booked people to come and play the events, and you could be the most talented musician in the world, but if you've turned up late, missed your sound check, only stay for your set and then leave as soon as you're done, I'm not going to book you again, because a lot of it, I want to work with nice people as well. That's like first and foremost, is you need to be a good person.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I know it makes me like your music less. Do you know what I mean? It's a really weird thing.
No.
I want to invest in somebody as a person as well. And so, yeah, I think having that work ethic, you turn up early, be polite to everybody, help out, at the end of the gig, offer, do you want me to help you take your speakers to the car and things like that. And it all comes into one bundle, I think, of just being a decent human being that happens to write good songs. Sorted. There you go. What more could you want?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for us. We have a little challenge. It's an Action for Happiness Wellbeing Challenge. Okay. And so we're going to jump over to the Great Dream Challenge. Amy, this is our Great Dream Challenge, and this comes from Action for Happiness. They have 10 keys for happier living, so 10 things that we do that boost our well-being and just keep us a little bit more positive and healthy, giving, relating, and so on. What we do is we challenge our guest stars to see how many of these they can tell us that they do in 1 minute. Okay. Now, I know you know one of our previous guests, Velvet Engine. She's, if you want to watch her show, absolutely beautiful show, great songs on there as well. She's got as far as DRE, so she hasn't completed it, but we've got a few people who have completed it. So the gauntlet is down. Okay. Are you ready?
I think so.
To take on the challenge. All right. Let's start with giving.
Okay. I give my time.
Yes.
To a lot of people.
Good. Relating to others, connecting.
Every day. Friends, family.
Exercising.
Again, every day. Yoga.
Appreciating the world around you.
On my walk to work every morning.
Trying out new things.
I've never been on an episode like this before, so yes.
Amazing. Direction, having goals.
I do something called passion planning once every 3 months.
Love it. I'll ask you about that. Resilience. Bouncing back.
Take a nice long bath and read a good book. Wait for tomorrow to come.
Emotion, taking a positive approach.
Speaking to a friend or family member.
Acceptance, being comfortable with yourself.
Look in the mirror every day and tell yourself you're great.
And meaning, being part of something bigger.
Getting involved in things like this. Trying new things out.
You've still got time.
Take that, Velvet Engine.
I'll tell her. Oh, well done. Let's keep you. Oh, it looks like I already thought you would get there. You are at the top.
Preempted at that leaderboard.
That, yeah. Well done. Let's head back to the main studio. That was straight to the top of that leaderboard there. Now, you mentioned something in that challenge. Passion planning. I want to know all about that.
Well, it was introduced to me maybe about a year ago by my friend Ben. I was having a bit of a time at work, just sort of everyday stress, but all at the same time. So I had a period of maybe like a month where I just was a bit worn down. And my friend Ben invited me around for dinner and he said, we should do some passion planning. And I said, you're going to have to explain to me what that is, Ben. And basically it's you do it for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months and a year.
Yeah.
You put a minute on a timer and write everything that you want to achieve within the next month. you want to try and keep it achievable.
Yes.
Not, walk on the moon and things like that, because as we know, that goes on your 12-month plan.
Of course,
your 1 month
yes,
plan.
maybe 2 years.
Exactly, if you're lucky. So you want to keep it achievable. It can be anything from, I want to hoover out the back of my car, or I want to start looking for a new job, or I want to, all of these sort of things. You write as many as you can within the minute, and then once your time is up, you choose the 3 that you'd like to prioritise.
Okay.
And then you do the same thing for a 3-month plan, a 6-month plan, and a year plan.
Yeah.
And just write a little deadline of, when you'd like to achieve those things by. And then if, by the end of the 1-month plan, you haven't done everything on the list, then you could maybe add that to the 6-month plan.
Yes.
And it's like not putting pressure on yourself
Yeah.
to do things that feel wildly unachievable. But it's just sort of shifting the perspective in your brain in times of stress to really focus your brain on, oh, this is what I should be focusing on.
Yeah.
And what you'll often find if, there's not many people out there that particularly enjoy their job, I imagine. So, but what I've found, I've sort of introduced it to quite a few people and got them to do it. And what you find quite often is that their work life very rarely crops up on any of the passion planning. It's always, family life or stuff to do with their house, or they want to get a bit healthier, or they want to go on a few more walks and things like that. Very rarely does their work prop up, because
it's not passionate.
To them, it's not that important.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a good way of shifting the balance to be like, okay, I need to focus on these things I am actually passionate about, rather than let the other stuff get to me.
And actually relating to that, just with my psychology hat on there, the timer is really important, because I think it can be very easy to start wallowing and start kind of going, oh, I'll have this, I'll have 1 minute. Those are the things that came to mind, which means those are the things that matter.
Exactly, yeah.
I love that. I'm going to try that for next year. So we're coming into New Year. So could you, bearing that plan in mind, what key pieces of advice would you give to someone at the beginning of their career, the middle of their career, and maybe when they're now established?
Okay, so at the very beginning, I would say just get as much experience as you can. If we're talking sort of music career, then, open mic nights, collaborating with your friends, and just singing or performing out loud is the key. It doesn't matter whether it's out loud in your garden to next door neighbour's cat, or to a pub full of drunk people. It doesn't matter, just getting the experience and confidence to be like, oh, I can perform in front of people. I think that's the most key thing. I think a lot of people, myself included, straight off the bat were like trying to book gigs straight away that were like really, and without the stage experience, it's really difficult, and the nerves can get to you, and then you don't put in a good performance, you don't get asked to go back. Career done.
Yes.
So experience at the start, I think, is key. Middle, I would say collaboration. You've got a little bit of experience to pass on to people who are just starting out, but you've still got so much to learn from people that are further down the road than you. So join those people. If you want to get a band together, or if you want to write a song and have, the more experienced person just come into a studio with you so you can see how they work in the studio, and then you can, and it's all about just pooling knowledge. Lovely. And the more knowledge you gain, the better, really, because that's the thing with the music industry, or music in general, is that you've never learned everything.
No, of course.
There's always more to learn. Just when you think you've mastered something, something else will crop up and you go, oh, I've never heard of that. And so I think, the more people that you connect with, whether that, actually collaborating with them, or just going to see lots of gigs as well as people, trying to get people to come to your gigs. There's a wealth of knowledge with just other people within the industry.
Yeah, definitely.
And then someone at the end of their career, hopefully, I don't have too much advice for them, because hopefully I'm not nearing mine yet. But I think it all comes down to knowledge, I think.
Yes.
Giving, sort of passing on knowledge.
Yes, legacy, isn't it?
Don't try and hog the limelight for longer than is necessary.
Yes.
Everyone has their time to shine. Some people want it to shine a little bit longer. But as long as the lesser experienced people coming through aren't being neglected.
Yes.
Because, you know, there's people that its talents need to be honed as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, just know when is enough. Enough is enough.
Oh, that's great. I love that. I love that. So where can we learn more about you and download your music?
So all of my music is on all of the online places, Spotify, Apple, all of those. I've got a website, amiidawes.com, and on all of the social medias at Amii_Dawes.
Amazing. And the last song you're going to play for us is Filthy. Do you mind telling us about that and maybe introducing it?
Yes. So Filthy, I wrote at a time where I felt a little bit out of the loop. I was always a very strange child, eccentric, and I used to think that was a bad thing. And then as I grew older, I realised actually being a little bit weird was the best thing about me, and realised that there's an awful lot of weirdos out there as well, and they're my people. And so it was a song for it's a song for weirdos, basically, a song for my people. And yeah, it's a celebration of everything that makes you weird. And yeah, it's called Filthy. Say that I'm a freak, a creep that don't deserve to speak. My voice may be silent, but my heart is louder than you think. Say that I'm a mess, worthless for the way I like to dress. I know I haven't always got it right in the night, and this I must confess. That I know I do not understand why. If different is a sin, then tell me that I'm guilty. If innocence is clean, then tell me that I'm filthy. If being you is being me, and we'll intertwine. And watch these feet as they carefully walk these steps behind. Say I don't belong, so wrong, 'cause I don't wanna play along. If I'm not looking tough, it's not enough just to be headstrong. Say I must perform uniform to the system of the damned. If I don't want to win, God forbid the sweetest sin to ask another for a hand. I still don't understand why. If different is a sin, then tell me that I'm guilty. If innocence is clean, then tell me that I'm filthy. If being you is being me, and we'll intertwine. And watch these feet as they carefully walk these steps behind. Understand why.